proceed with the rest of the program. And with that, allow me, Your Excellency, to now invite the Chief Executive Officer, Information, Communication and Technology, Mr. Stanley Kamanguya, to give his welcoming and opening remarks. We can welcome him with a warm hand clap. Tumpigie makofi. Karibu sir.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya and the Commander-in-Chief, Dr. William Ruto, Your Excellency, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, all invited guests, Your Excellency, allow me to ride with the protocol that has been established in the interest of time. It is with ultimate respect, Your Excellency, and honor that I extend a very warm welcome to all the esteemed leaders and great minds gathered here today as we unveil this pivotal moment of the Connected Africa Summit 2024. As we convene here today, Your Excellency, under our theme of shaping a future of a connected Africa, unlocking growth beyond connectivity, I urge us to embrace this theme as our guiding star to light us towards a brighter future for Africa, an Africa that stands as a tall leader in the global digital space. Your presence here, Your Excellency, is demonstrate your profound dedication towards the ICT sector and also exemplifies you as a testament visionary leader in recognition of the role that technology plays in shaping our digital economy. The Connected Summit journey, Your Excellency, has been a long but exciting one. We started in the year 2009 with about 500 delegates, largely drawn from government. The summit has grown over the years to be what it is here today, a continental summit with delegates across Africa and beyond. So someone may ask, why Connected Africa, Your Excellency? Having drawn from the successes of the regional summit, Your Excellency, with your guidance, you challenged us to bring together our colleagues and friends from the continent and global partners for us to come together and deliberate how we can develop the roadmap towards a digital powerhouse. And here we are today, Your Excellency. We thank you for the challenge. Your Excellency, this summit draws a diverse array of participants, including policymakers, development partners, and digital think tanks. We have representation from 49 countries, Your Excellency, 35 African, 10 European countries, 2 from Asia, UAE, and the US. We do have with us here, Your Excellency, 16 ministers, 4 deputy ministers and principal secretaries, 25 ambassadors, representation from the COMESA and the AU, as well as heads of ICT authorities and regulatory bodies. At this juncture, Your Excellency, allow me to quickly recognize my peers from the continent. I will just quickly mention their names and ask them to stand. We have Madam Mama Sato from Sierra Leone. Thank you very much. She's the DG Communication Authority. We have Andrew Nyerenda representing the DG from Malawi. Thank you very much. We have Usu Amadi representing the DG Ghana. Thank you very much. And we have Dr. Dorothy Okello from Communications Commission, Uganda. And finally, Your Excellency, we have Joseph Mayen from Southern Sudan. Your Excellency, this convergence of minds provides us with an exceptional platform to delve into cutting-edge technologies and facilitate robust discussions, which we hope will lead us to some actionable outcomes that will propel us towards a digital Africa. ICT authorities and regulators and similar institutions across the continent will be fundamental in coordinating the implementation of the outcomes of this summit. Together with my peers, Your Excellency, we have then agreed and we aim to form a caucus of authorities responsible for digital connectivity to coordinate this effort and support our respective governments in the achievement of these priorities that will be identified here. As I conclude, Your Excellency, allow me to ask all of us to imagine the old times in our African culture. Imagine the drums of the old times, signaling messages across Africa's vast land. Imagine navigating the fields, guided by the stars. This is our true and unique African culture. In the same way, we can build a unique digital landscape that gives Africa a competitive advantage and build a unified Africa, not only connected by the bond of technology, but our shared aspirations and relentless pursuit of progress. I thank you, Your Excellency. Enjoy the digital transformation ride. Thank you very much.
Let's give him a warm hand clap. Thank you very much, Mr. Kamanguya. Next, Your Excellency, I'll invite the Principal Secretary, State Department of ICT and Digital Economy, Engineer John Tenui, to make his remarks. And as he's advancing, allow me to also recognize the Huawei Global Vice President, Mr. Tony Bao, who's in our presence. Karibu sana, Bwana PS.
Thank you. Your Excellency, the President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, Your Excellency, Honorable the Prime Cabinet Secretary, Your Excellencies, the Ambassadors, Cabinet Secretaries, colleagues, PSS, and all delegates, good morning. Your Excellency, we are so excited for having this summit this morning. ICT Authority has held Connected Summit for the last 12 years. We've had conversations that have been very fruitful and has impacted our country. On the 13th event, we are very happy that it's coming to be African and continental. We've had conversations with my colleagues, the PSS who are here from the region, and I would like to recognize them from Malawi. My colleague, PS Samuel Baldwin, you could stand up. Dr. Lado from South Sudan, Kanona Ramachel from Lesotho, and Dr. Buela from Zimbabwe, my colleague, Professor Kisiangani from Broadcasting and Telecommunications, And over the weekend, we had Dr. Amina Sawede from Uganda. Your Excellency, this platform gives us a huge opportunity to address some of the most important issues affecting the globe and also our continent. We are looking at matters of connectivity. How do we ensure everyone in the continent is connected? And how do we ensure that the continent, our countries, are active players in all the ecosystem involved, including the devices, active and passive that are involved. We are also looking how do we digitalize our services as governments across. We're looking at the issues that are rising, cybersecurity, data protection, data privacy. We are looking also at issues of devices that are required to ensure we connect to the last miles. That's affordable smart devices. Your Excellency, we are looking at also global emerging issues, artificial intelligence, and what's our role as a continent? How do we work with our partners across the world so that we are active players in that space? There are also these emerging issues that we've seen during the COVID-19, how it affected global supply chains. How do we position Kenya in the continent and the region as a contributor to the global economic growth by giving diversification of supply chain and also availing our smart talent to be able to be contributors to the global economy. Your Excellency, we thank you for this convening, and we are looking forward to work as colleagues of PSS. We are going to extend another network so that the discussions and outcomes of this summit shall be implemented to ensure the people of the continent indeed benefits. Your Excellency, I'll stop there. It's now my pleasure to invite our Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Eliud Owalo, who will make his remarks. Welcome.
His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, fellow ICT ministers from other African countries, our partners from the industries, thought leaders who are here, let me welcome you all to this Connected Africa Summit. This is a very, very important week for Africa, Your Excellency, because it gives us the opportunity as Africa to discuss the emerging issues in our operational environment in view of dynamism in the technological space and come up with a very, very clear tech roadmap for Africa moving forward. We are dealing with issues of artificial intelligence as to whether or not we need to regulate AI or let AI regulate itself. We are grappling with issues to do with big data, machine learning, issues of cybersecurity. All these require a holistic approach for the continent so that we move in tandem. Similarly, in terms of opportunities, we have got opportunity to enhance the level of digital public infrastructure for Africa. We need to enhance the level of our fiber connectivity, our internet connectivity, so that we have universal access and we have digital inclusivity. Other opportunities that we need to exploit, Your Excellency, include but not limited to the digital jobs that we have within the digital space, opportunities for digital entrepreneurship so that we explore the possibility of Africa being a manufacturer of digital enterprises and equipment such as smart-enabled telephones before we go the full hog to embark on manufacture of computer hardware and software. This is why we are here, Your Excellency. And while doing all this, we need to recognize that everything that we are going to do by way of digital interventions has to be anchored on a sound policy, legal, and regulatory framework. We therefore need to break the shackles and barriers that we have within Africa so that we have got policies, laws, and regulations that speak to each other as opposed to being discordant with each other. We therefore envisage, Your Excellency, that at the tail end of all this, we will come up with recommendations as to what we need to do as Africa in the global technological space so that we exploit opportunities that are available within our operational environment to position Africa effectively in the digital market by way of comparative advantage. With those many remarks, may I have this opportunity to invite the US Ambassador to Kenya to come and make a few remarks, and subsequent to that, invite the Prime Cabinet Secretary, who will eventually invite the President of the Republic of Kenya. Thank you very much.
Well, good morning. President Ruto, Prime Cabinet Secretary Mudavadi, heads of state, government ICT officials, private sector leaders, and international organizations. Thank you for inviting me to speak to you this morning. And I am excited to be here for this, I think, very, very important conference. You know this, Africa is a continent full of economic growth potential. And in my view, technology is the key to prosperity as we work together to shape the future of connected Africa. As some of you may know, international diplomacy is a second career for me. I spent most of my professional life in business, including the CEO of two large international companies, eBay and Hewlett-Packard. And one of the most important things I learned in my business career is this: every business is a technology business. As your colleagues here in Kenya know, I have been talking about this ever since I arrived as US Ambassador in August of 2022. But the historic truth of this statement became even more real to me on a recent visit to Northwest Kenya, where anthropologists are partnering with Kenya's National Museum to study some of our earliest human ancestors. While I was there, one of the scientists handed me a chipped stone tool and told me casually, "You are holding the oldest known example of human technology. 3 million years ago, one of our great-great-great-great-grandparents figured out how to sharpen tools to prepare food. And this stone is the birth of technology." First, the good news is I did not drop the stone. Second, the insight. As I held that stone tool, I realized that humans have been in the technology business since the very beginning, and Africa has been home to human innovation from the start. I am confident that Africa will also be home to important technological innovation in the 21st century. Now, when I say every business is a tech business, it is a reminder that technology innovation isn't just about what is flashy. It's about addressing real problems to help real people, like our ancestors did when they first used technology to create that first-hand tool. I became the CEO of eBay in 1998, and our company was at the heart of the first internet boom. There was lots of focus back then on flashy technology, and everyone, including me, thought of eBay first as a tech company. But when we really focused on our mission, we found that we were answering questions that most people didn't consider tech questions. How could we help people buy and sell things efficiently? How could we help people pay for those things safely? And how could we help people ship those things quickly? Our success came because we took business questions and turned them into tech questions. That was simple, and it was revolutionary. I encourage all of you to consider this approach for your economies. Look at what strengths already exist in your countries and ask how technology can solve challenges in those sectors to make you a leader through innovation. Sometimes innovation looks like artificial intelligence and satellites and e-money. Sometimes, though, it looks much different than we expect. However, innovation always includes three elements: solutions-focused, it is specific, and it's sustainable. Being solution-focused is the foundation of shaping the future of a connected Africa. Technology must be purposeful, and I must say that here in Kenya, I have been impressed by the innovation solutions that Kenyans have developed for local problems. Sometimes in partnerships with American companies, but sometimes just from local startups. For example, one of the coolest companies I have visited since arriving in Kenya is a company called Zipline that operates in Kenya, Rwanda, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, and Nigeria. Zipline uses drones to deliver life-saving medical products to hard-to-reach areas. The company is based in America, but each African country it enters, it hires and trains a fully local team. This means that it creates a true partnership where engineering and technology solutions are driven from the ground up. Zipline saw a problem in medical distribution, and they used technology to create a solution. Innovating with technology also requires being specific. The solutions must matter to real people and make sense in a local context. The success of African economies depends on solving problems that are very specific to the local context. And at first glance, these problems may not always look like technology issues, but they are. Kenya is actually full of success stories of companies applying technology to aquaculture. I like to joke that we should change the name of aquaculture to fish tech so that the industry gets more investment attention. But it's not completely a joke. Today, fisheries rely on cutting-edge technologies like GPS, data analytics, and artificial intelligence that have the potential to revolutionize fishing and make Africa the world leader. And it's not just fishing. In the 21st century, farming is not just farming, it's ag tech. Medicine is not just medicine, it's med tech. Finance is not just finance, it's fintech. And fashion is not just fashion, it's fashion tech. You get the idea. Whatever your country's specific strengths and challenges are, that's where technology can deliver the most impressive results. Finally, using technology to shape the future of a connected Africa must be sustainable. Technology innovation is not a one-time innovation. It requires constant adaptation that we must maintain over time. Many of you know, over the past few years, we've been sharing a presentation called Why Africa, Why Kenya, that focuses on opportunities for US companies to invest on the continent. As everyone knows, by 2050, 1 in 4 people on Earth and 1 in 3 working-age people will live in Africa. That demographic reality presents an immense opportunity, and taking full advantage of that opportunity means training African workforces so the continent leads in both producing and innovating. There are 2 other reasons that I believe Africa should be on every American CEO's focus list: supply chain diversification and green energy. The war in Ukraine and the COVID-19 pandemic taught us that we all need more diverse supply chains, and Africa can be the solution to this global need, and technology will be the key to that success. But when companies diversify their supply chains, they also must go someplace where there is renewable energy. And this continent has abundant hydro, solar, wind, and geothermal resources, and many of your countries are on the forefront of this sustainable change. For example, Kenya produces more than 93% of its energy from renewable sources. New technologies like artificial intelligence are super power hungry, and Africa is positioned to lead in this important power generation sector in ways that will impact the entire world. These are just some of the keys to shaping the future of a connected Africa. In my 2 years in Kenya, I've seen amazing examples of innovation in action, and I look forward to hearing about those developments across the continent as Africa takes on more leadership in technology in the coming years. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, please pardon me and allow me to invite Ms. Henriette Geiger, the European Union Ambassador to Kenya, to make her remarks. Karibu.
His Excellency, President William Samoei Ruto, Prime Cabinet Secretary Ovalo, PS, ICT Ministers, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. I have the pleasure to represent the European Union and its member states as a Team Europe at this Connected Africa Summit. We are here to harness the transformative power of digitalization for Africa. Impressive progress has been made in Africa, but we want to fully reap the benefits of the fourth industrial revolution, and technological advance is moving at lightning speed. The EU and Africa share a common vision as reaffirmed at the 6th EU-AU summit, and the European Union strongly supports the creation of the African single market. We believe that our respective digital ecosystems can thrive through more cooperation at all levels and to make our societies more prosperous. Together, we can accomplish the development of a single digital market for Africa, where data can flow across borders freely. Personal data are fully protected, and the private sector can leverage data value chains on the basis of clear and harmonized regulation. Data governance is a flagship also in our EU-Kenya relations. We are working closely together to make sure that data can flow safely between Kenya and the European Union, as well as between Kenya and its partners. In order to turn this vision into a reality, we focus our efforts on 3 fundamental ingredients. First, investment. Second, sound governance frameworks. And third, trustworthy partnerships. The European Union has created the Global Gateway Africa-Europe Investment Package. This is worth 21 trillion Kenyan shillings, or 150 billion euros. Around 10% of this Global Gateway's total funding is dedicated to digital transformation in Africa. And this is what we need to harness. We have committed these funds with the objective of closing the digital divide, developing and deploying digital networks and infrastructures, but also, very importantly, working on digital skills. Now, investments can only flourish in a stable and predictable policy and regulatory environment. So we need frameworks which both safeguards rights and spur innovation and entrepreneurship. Finally, trustworthy partnerships are the basis to all our work. One good example is the partnership between Team Europe and Smart Africa for human-centric digital transformation. Together, we shaped 5 thematic sessions and 4 workshops that will take place during this summit on data governance, connectivity, artificial intelligence, and e-identity. Building on this, we will continue engaging and planning to bring this partnership forward for the Transform Africa Summit that will take place in Nairobi at the end of August. We are in this together. Together, we will transform Africa and the world through innovation. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Asanteni sana.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, allow me to introduce from wherever they are my cabinet colleagues from other African countries. Please just stand up. I introduce you, starting with Paola there. Yeah, the ICT Minister for Rwanda, ICT Minister from Zambia, ICT Minister from Uganda, ICT Minister from Tanzania, ICT Minister from Zimbabwe, that's ICT Minister from Shawaya, and then from Congo, ICT Minister from Burundi, and then ICT Minister from Sudan? Huh? South Sudan, yes. Okay, yes, and then ICT Minister from Namibia as well. Thank you very much for joining us over this important platform. Allow me, Your Excellency, with your permission, to give just 2 minutes to the CEO of Smart Africa Alliance, Mr. Lassina Kone. This is the entity that coordinates our ICT activities within the continent. Please, Mr. Lassina Kone, just come and make a few remarks for 2 minutes only. Yeah.
Excellency, Mr. President, honorable guests, honorable ministers, country members of Smart Africa, thank you very much for inviting us. For this 2-minute remark, it's been really wonderful to find ourselves here for one good reason, that 10 years ago almost, Kenya was a founding member of Smart Africa, which was created in 2013. We grew from there from 7 countries. Today we are 39 countries, accessing about 1.2 billion populations. Digital transformation is no longer a choice. It's a necessity, just like a water utility, just like any other utility that we use at home. So this Connected Africa is an opportunity for all of us. I see that a lot of our country members, ICT ministers, are here to actually align our visions together. And in fact, the Connected Africa actually teach me one thing. I think this is probably the pilot versions of this Transform Africa Summit, which is going to take place on August 28 to 29. I'm inviting all of you to be present to really make this a remarkable event under the leadership of His Excellency, the President of Kenya. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lakuna. Allow me just to recognize the presence of the Member of Parliament for this region. Just stand up, Mr. Felix Oduor. He's the Member of Parliament for this constituency, sub-county. We also have our chair of the ICT Committee of the National Assembly, Mr. John Kiare. He's here with a number of team members of the ICT Committee. Just stand up, members of the ICT Committee of the, where we have Honorable Rene Mayaka there. And that is, Joseph from Keses. Yeah. And then also allow me, Your Excellency, to recognize the presence of the Secretary General of COMESA, Madame Shilebe Mpundwa Kapwepe. Welcome to Nairobi. With your permission, Your Excellency, it is now my distinguished honor and privilege to invite the Prime Cabinet Secretary to make a few remarks, then subsequent to that, invite you to speak to the audience. Thank you.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable William Samoei Ruto, Your Excellencies, Ministers, Ambassadors and High Commissioners, distinguished industry leaders, ladies and gentlemen. I will be very brief because we are running short, behind schedule a little. So I want to spend just a couple of minutes here and invite His Excellency the President to make his remarks. Your Excellency, this is an interesting but very important conference. A few days ago, in fact last week, you had sent me to Paris to have a conversation on the crisis in Sudan. And while we were there, on the sidelines, we started having a conversation during the light moments, and we got into talking about the Olympics, which are scheduled to be in Paris. And one of the conversation members put it this way, that there is no athletics competition if Kenya and Ethiopia are missing. The marathon. If they are there, then there's no marathon. And then we went on further and we talked a little bit about soccer. And as we were talking about soccer, this gentleman, in a very humorous way, said, well, you are good in the athletics and the marathon, but we want to tell you that we are better in soccer. And I asked him, why do you think so? Because we are getting there. And he said, you see, the problem with you guys in Africa is that you run so fast and you leave the ball behind. So what am I trying to say here? So I'm trying to say that dealing with where we are going, the future of technology and connectivity, I think it is important that as Africa, we make sure that we are running fast enough not to be left behind. We cannot continue playing catch-up. The second aspect of it is that we should then also learn to use what we have and make sure that the ball is always ahead so that we find it there. So with these few remarks, Your Excellency, I think this is an opportune moment for you to continue with your drive to make sure that Africa is well connected and we participate fully so that technology does not go ahead without Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, let us be upstanding to welcome His Excellency the President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, to make his remarks.
Sorry. Thank you very much. Excellencies, honorable ministers, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. On behalf of the government and people of Kenya, let me welcome all of you that have come to attend this very timely and important conference. And while there, let me give you one must know about Nairobi and one must know about Kenya. About Nairobi, to the south of this place, if you walk this direction, in about 5 minutes, you will be at the Nairobi National Park. Nairobi is the only city with a national park a minute or minutes away from where you will be staying. So I will encourage you somewhere in between this conference to find your way to the national park. We have wild animals. I must, however, warn you that sometimes they break off from the fence. So if for any reason you find a lion, please be careful. They are not tamed. I must know about Kenya. When you came to Kenya, I am sure you realize that from wherever you came from, you no longer need a visa to visit Kenya. And it is because the artificial barriers that we have since been brought down by technology. And that's why I am proud and honored to welcome all to the Connected Africa Summit 2024, at which we gather to inaugurate the sunrise of Africa's digital transformation, the spark which will ignite our continent's rapid development in every sector to accelerate Africa's progress in realizing its full economic potential. We are here to mobilize our shared dreams and ambitions, visions and strategies in order to pave pathways to our common future, a future designed and built by Africans for Africa. Today, we come together inspired by the shared vision of a continent whose thriving economy anchors global prosperity, driven by the full participation of every citizen, and where, through the relentless pursuit of innovation, integration, and efficiency, our digital economy becomes the fundamental enabler of the aspirations of over 1 billion Africans. The primary ambition of this summit is that through determined collaboration and innovation, we will lay a sustained foundation of connectivity and empower the people of Africa to achieve the UN Sustainable Development Goals, as well as the AU's Agenda 2063. We have quite some time, and we have some way to go in order to be ready for the digital economy and the future of work. Africa's internet penetration rate is 36%, which translates to 470 million users in a continent of 1.4 billion people. Current projections indicate that at the current pace of development, this number will increase by an additional 300 million people by 2030. Our continent is connected to the global internet through 19 undersea cables, which is comparatively modest compared to other continents. For example, Europe and Asia are connected by a significantly higher number of cable landings, leading to a greater broadband accessibility with profound impacts in terms of the strong positive relationship between digital connectivity and economic prosperity. Nevertheless, we must all be concerned by the fact that our rate of connectivity is poorer than the existing potential. Despite these connections, fixed broadband penetration in Africa is only about 5%, which leaves us far behind other regions of the globe. This has critical implications for our ambition for both connectivity and economic transformation through the digital economy. The reason is that even an increase of only 10% of our broadband connectivity can lead to a 1.4% GDP growth in our continent. Additionally, our low rate of connectivity also presents other challenges. For instance, Africa's current average broadband speed stands at 8.1 megabytes per second. And at 5% of the monthly gross national income per capita, data costs represent a significant expense and places connectivity beyond the reach of most, especially those who are vulnerable. These statistics must serve as an urgent call to action and motivate us to radically enhance Africa's digital infrastructure and unleash the immense economic and innovative potential of our young people in a vibrant continent. Ladies and gentlemen, our vision for the future is bold, clearly urgent, and feasible. Under the African Continental Free Trade Area framework, we aim to harness Pan-African integration in order to expand our collective GDP from US dollars 1.7 trillion to US dollars 2.5 trillion by 2030. This ambition must be complemented by a strong commitment to bridge the huge digital divide which undermines our continent's growth prospects. Today, 300 million people across Africa live more than 50 kilometers away from an active fiber optic connection, a yawning physical gap that denies them access to internet and separates them from all the possibilities that the digital economy presents. Globally, Africa's digital infrastructure coverage, access, and quality lag behind our other regions. Yet, it does not have to be this way, because the most transformative interventions are just but a few decisions away. At the end of 2021, 84% of people in our region lived in areas where the third-generation network technology, 3G connectivity, was available, while 63% had access to G4 mobile coverage. However, regrettably, only 22% were using mobile internet services. This gap between coverage and usage is similarly large for broadband internet connectivity, with 61% of people in our region living within broadband range, but unfortunately unable to use it. The imperative, therefore, is clear and entails determined interventions to significantly increase access to broadband services and to enhance both service, quality, and affordability. In turn, higher digital inclusion will intensify job creation and will help us deal with the challenge of poverty. Beyond infrastructure, a thriving digital economy requires the presence of a sizable and highly skilled digital workforce to build on advances in digital technology and to drive innovation and productivity, thereby creating a dynamic ecosystem which ushers enterprises into the digital economy and enables them to scale up successfully. With the establishment of these essential foundations, the private sector should automatically emerge as the primary driver across the spectrum of emerging transformative use cases. I am in full agreement with everyone here that at the heart of our digital transformation are our young talents, brilliant minds who are actively contributing to the growth of the global technology sector, marking out Africa as an indispensable hub of technological innovation. And I saw many of them as I went through the various booths. Driven by bold creativity and an indomitable entrepreneurial spirit, African youth are pioneering advances in fintech, agri-tech, renewable energy, and digital services. They are a generation which has been socialized to internalize technology as a basic need and way of life that is essential not only for economic growth, but also as a vital tool for solving the most pressing challenges of our time, including improving access to basic services like education, healthcare, and for facilitating sustainable resource management. I speak about young people in Kenya because I see the tremendous potential that exists. The youth are our fundamental constituency, both as the principal builders and beneficiaries of a digitally enabled society where every African can thrive. This understanding is underlined by the theme of this summit, which provides us with a platform to amplify and accelerate the contributions of the youth through and throughout our continent. It is clear, therefore, that closing the digital divide is a priority in terms of enhancing connectivity, expanding the contribution of ICT sector to Africa's GDP, and driving overall GDP growth across all sectors. Africa's digital economy has immense potential, which is projected to reach $700 billion by 2050. This growth and projections in there is informed by a number of key positive factors, beginning with unfolding demographic dynamics. Briefly, our youth population, the youngest globally, is motivated and prepared to drive the digital economy, foster innovation, and entrench new technologies. As a country, we have made the very conscious decision that technology is going to inform the way we transform our country. We set out in the last 1.5 years to put all government services on a digital platform. I am very happy that we are 80% on the way, making sure that every government service is available on the digital platform. And speaking about technology, it is amazing how technology can revolutionize and fast-track our progress. And speaking about technology and what it can do to bring down barriers, in many of my country visits, I visited one TVET, 400 kilometers from Nairobi. And I will give you an example about what internet connectivity, technology, and the youth, the connection, the power of that connection, what it can do for the transformation of our continent. I went to a TVET in Kaiboi, in Nandi County, 400 kilometers away from Nairobi. And I met this young man, Brian. And Brian gave us his story, and he was sitting in front of a computer. And he said, after many things, that he takes 2 hours every day to work on his computer because he has digital skills and has been connected to a digital job. Brian, now in Nandi County, works for an AI company in Germany. Mind you, Brian is a village boy. He has never come to Nairobi, the capital city of Kenya. He doesn't have a passport. But he not only works for a company in Germany, he works for a company, an AI company, which the government of Kenya today does not even have a clear policy on AI. Meaning, Brian is ahead of the government of Kenya. And that is what the power of technology can do. In the last 4 months, again, if I give you another example of the power of technology and the digital space. In the last 4 months, we have distributed 2.5 million bags of fertilizer to close to 500,000 farmers in Kenya using an e-voucher that has eliminated cartels, roadblocks, bottlenecks, and has made the distribution of fertilizer efficient. Because of the e-voucher last year, which we used to distribute our fertilizer, and the efficiency it brought into our farming, we increased our production by 50% last year. Let me give you another example. I went to Embu, and that is why I was asking about Embu. And women in the market, because we have a Wi-Fi, a free Wi-Fi in the market, were talking about the efficiency of their business because they can now connect to their suppliers because the internet is available, it is stable, and it is free. That is how e-commerce can expand because of internet connectivity, because of technology. Let me also say how technology can expand our industrialization. Today in Kenya, we have a company that manufactures fiber. Today in Kenya, we have a company that assembles smartphones. Today in Kenya, we have a company that is beginning to put together technology gadgets, including computers. So there is an all array from creating jobs to enhancing commerce to powering industrialization. The second critical factor is the potential growth on account of increased digital penetration and an enhanced pace of infrastructure development. With over 160 million Africans gaining broadband access between 2019 and 2022, a 119% increase in internet users between 2016 and 2021, we have laid a solid foundation for the digital economy's expansion and built significant momentum for transformative economic growth. Consequently, we are poised to achieve exponential progress with further investments in expansion. And I'm very happy that we have many actors in our midst today so that they can work with us to unlock the huge potential that this space presents. Thirdly, the rise of the African fintech innovation can no longer be ignored. Our fintech sector is now firmly at the forefront of global innovation, with its product transforming economic activities by facilitating inclusive service delivery, as well as interventions like mobile payments, thereby significantly advancing digital inclusion. I cannot forget to mention that huge positive role that international solidarity and regional support have also greatly contributed to the strength of the projected growth of Africa's digital economy. The World Bank's US $2.8 billion investment in digital development projects, for example, enables African countries to surmount challenges in developing digital infrastructure and drive sustainable growth of safe, inclusive digital economies. And I say this in the context that next Monday, here in Nairobi, we will be having a conversation as leaders from Africa with the World Bank on the next IDA or International Development Association replenishment program, because we are pushing the resource envelope on resources that have concessional funding to make sure that we can power our own development as Africans. For a long time, this conversation was done without us. For the first time, we are going to sit around the table, agree with our development partners, work with multilateral development banks to agree on Africa's priorities, what makes sense to us. And that conversation next Monday here in Nairobi, involving African heads of state, the World Bank, and other actors, is an important conversation, realizing that it is as important to disburse as it is to disburse to the right priorities. More partnerships like this are essential for our digital and economic inclusion agenda, and besides, they are sound investments whose dividends will endure for generations to come. I wish to emphasize to the global community, and especially financial institutions and private sector investors, that betting on Africa's future now is the best investment decision with unprecedented immediate and long-term benefits. I wish somebody was listening to me. Any serious investor who does not have his focus in the African continent has some correction to make. In addition, we have developed our policy and regulatory frameworks into fundamental enablers of Africa's digital transformation through effective collaboration. That is why I'm very happy to have ministers in this meeting, because the biggest threat to Africa's progress is the fragmentation of our economy. And that is why we are effectively assembling ourselves into a coherent, cohesive, one market under the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. And the more we have functions like this, where we collaborate, where we bring our ideas together and synergize, the better it is for all of us collectively. As a consequence, harmonized ICT sector policies instituted both under the ACFTA and the Africa Union's Agenda 2063 play a crucial role in fostering cross-border coordination and investment, facilitating aggressive growth across all countries in all sectors. Also, ongoing efforts to accelerate Pan-African economic diversification and consumer market expansion further bolster the development of an expansive market for digital services as well. Through our commitment to invest in the development of broadband infrastructure and foster the emergence of a digitally enabled society, we shall lay down the foundation for an inclusive, prosperous African future where every citizen can thrive as an active participant in an interconnected global economy. This strategic focus is not only about connectivity, but also about empowering every citizen in a dynamic digital landscape across our continent. I'm encouraged to note that the intentional positioning of the ICT sector aligns with Africa's overarching economic growth strategy, which leverages the digital economy to catalyze the development of various sectors, supported by Africa's phenomenal demographic dividend and deliberate infrastructure improvements, innovative fintech solutions, and strategic policy frameworks. The ICT sector is intended to drive Africa's transition into a global leader in the digital economic space. Kenya's sustained commitment to digital transformation provides a good example of what we should aim to achieve throughout Africa and to benefit everybody wherever we can deliver. At 64 million mobile connections, Kenya's mobile connectivity is 118% of our population. At the end of 2022, mobile data or internet subscriptions were 47.8 million, with 67% of this comprising mobile broadband connections. Our ICT sector has continued to grow at the rate of 10% annually. To build on this and all the achievements, sustain the growth in momentum, and deepen ICT and digital inclusion, we have embedded last-mile fiber connectivity as a strategy and a strategic pillar of our bottom-up economic transformation agenda. Under this vision, our goal is to connect 100,000 institutions and markets and significantly increase fixed broadband access from 1.2 million to 8 million out of the 12 million households between 2022 and 2030. Furthermore, we have commenced the process of reviewing our building codes to ensure all new buildings are fiber optic ready. These initiatives underscore Kenya's dedication to deliver sustainable, universal digital access. We are implementing the National Citizen Digital Skills Program, a transformative initiative to bolster digital ICT inclusion in remote parts of our country. Through the DigiTrack program, for example, we have committed to provide 40 hours of digital skills and innovation training free of charge to citizens across the country, delivered through mobile units. An impressive outcome of this initiative is that over 35% of people who have completed training went on to start new businesses, and 70% have since passed their digital skills onwards to other citizens. This is the impact of a simple intervention in terms of empowering young people, and it affirms the promise of a collaborative approach and the power of partnership in achieving ambitious goals. As we enhance our digital connectivity infrastructure, we are deliberate about fostering a robust environment for e-commerce. The objective is to broaden market access for Kenyan entrepreneurs and also integrate them into the global digital economy. Our ICT sector continues to expand on account of emerging technologies as well as our increasing sophistication in the digital economy. Increasingly, this is going to be the trend in every country on our continent. That is my belief. Accordingly, we see a great and urgent need to design and implement a harmonized model of regulation to be governed by a network of ICT authorities which shall oversee the integration of the digital transformation initiatives throughout the continent in accordance with our AU 2063 agenda for ICT. We are eager to share these experiences, and I'm sure Eliud Owalo and his team will take time to share some of these experiences and also learn from those of our colleagues from across the continent, whatever they have to offer. It is by sharing knowledge and experiences, pooling resources, harmonizing strategies, aligning investments, and working as partners that we shall rise together. This collaborative spirit is what we need to transform Africa into a digitally empowered and economically thriving continent. It is also the reason we are gathered here as this inaugural Connected Africa Summit mobilizes all of us together with our esteemed global partners to collaborate with ambition and transcend our challenges, enabling Africa to rise towards its destiny. The expected outcomes of this summit, therefore, are not mere objectives, but concrete, impactful commitments and milestones on our journey towards innovative leadership and strategic global alliances that will expand our infrastructure, secure our digital spaces, and democratize access to technology, ensuring every African is included in our digital revolution. Everyone present here today recognizes the singular opportunity we have to unite our continent, inspire collaboration and innovation, and transform the ICT ecosystem, connectivity infrastructure, and our digital economy. The time has come for us to mobilize our collective visions, align our skills, focus our aspirations, and unite our energies in pursuit of Africa's digital intentions, economic transformation, and inclusive growth. Ladies and gentlemen, the Connected Africa Summit at this point is officially opened, and I thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for that wonderful speech. Another round of applause for His Excellency, please. Your Excellency, with your permission, if I may request, we just take a few photos before we wind up. And I'll start by inviting all ministers present, both from Kenya and from other countries. If we can kindly just come to the stage so that we can take these photos. We'll take advantage of the stairs. So perhaps, Your Excellency, if we can take just right there. All ministers from other countries and Kenya as well, if we may just come and take advantage of these stairs. Some of us can join His Excellency there. The overspill can come to the top. The next picture, as we arrange this one, if we can. Let's take our seats, please. Those of us in the crowd, let's take our seats, please. Let's kindly take our seats. The next picture we're going to be taking is all PSs and deputy ministers. All PSs and deputy ministers. If we can make our way to the side of the front so that we'll save on time. All principal secretaries and deputy ministers, sorry. If we can all just come here so that we'll save on time. All principal secretaries and deputy ministers. If we can all exit to your right, please, as we have the PSs now join in for a picture. PSs, kindly. The next picture after the PSs and deputy ministers is ambassadors. All ambassadors, kindly, if we can come to the side so that we'll save on time. All ambassadors present, representing different countries, kindly, if we can make our way here. Thank you. So, ambassadors, kindly, we can join His Excellency. The second last picture will be regional CEOs and CEOs under ministry. So please, if all regional CEOs and CEOs under ministries can come to the front, the second last picture. CEOs. We are currently taking regional CEOs and CEOs under ministry as the second last picture. Then ICTA board. The last picture will be ICTA board. The ICTA board. ICTA board as the second last pictures. Members of Parliament, if we can also just kindly come to the side. As the ICTA board are taking members of Parliament present, please let's come and take our position. Members of Parliament present, both from Kenya and other countries, as the last photograph. That's the ICTA board that is on stage now. Thank you for your patience, Your Excellency. We appreciate. Asante sana. Thank you. And the last picture, members of Parliament. After that, we are going to wind up with the national anthem. Therefore, we get ourselves ready. Thank you, Your Excellency. We'll request Your Excellency remain where you are while the rest of us recess, as we now are going to wind up with the national anthem. Let us all be upstanding wherever we are as we wind up with a prayer, which is the national anthem. we've come to the end of the opening ceremony of Africa Connected Summit. We'll allow His Excellency to now exit at his own pleasure.